Alright, cat number one. Did you know you could be rifed by spooky remote? It is possible. We could take some of your claw clippings and put them into spooky remote devices and rife you, except I don't know what frequencies to use yet. So we'll figure that out. And you too, Mr. Rocky. You know what? You could be rifed too. You know that? You like it up here on this shelf, don't you? You always like watching the birds outside that you can't get at because you're inside. You could be rife too. We could take some of your little feet, claws, clippings, or whatever the heck it is, and we could put them in DNA holders, and you could be treated. Now, the thing is, I don't know what the heck the frequencies would be, but there's a few of them out there. What I'd like to know is if there is a frequency for heartworm, right? Would that be kind of cool? Because you don't like that medicine. Every time I put that medicine in there, you say, yuck. I don't want that shit, right? I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff. I don't like no medicine. Yuck. Ugh, give me some real food, right? So maybe we could rife your heartworm potential problem, if you have any. We rifed your fleas. I don't know how the hell we did that. It's not supposed to work like that, but it worked, right? Where are you going? You're still a jumpy guy, aren't you? You know? You're still kind of a jumpy guy. Anyway, dude. That's what we might do. Does that sound cool? Right? Meow meow? Right? Sounds good to me. And just to give you an idea of what I was talking about, I have, two DNA remotes set up on this one device. Actually, I have another one of these generators coming, and I have another remote here. But just to turn the lights down, you can see the LED lights are lit up on the DNA remote holders. So I have some of my nail clippings in there that's coded to my DNA. And you can do this with the cat, too, supposedly, too. So I'm not sure what the frequencies would be, but there's a few of them out there, and there might be some list. I'd be interested in knowing what heartworm would be, because that guy don't like medicine. But right now, on myself, I'm running. This is the fourth remote spooky sweep. There's actually 6 parts. Each part takes like 4 hours, So I'm just running number 4 now. So basically that would pretty much hit every microbe. I mean, it's not going to maybe kill every microbe, but it's going to take a portion of them out, I don't know how effective it is. And as far as I know about Rife technology, I'm an amateur on this stuff, but as far as I know, it does a significant number of them. Like, in other words, if you hit them on a frequency. I don't know if you're going to knock every single one of them out, but using this long spectrum sweep, actually if you use all 6 parts, it's like 24 hours. And the cool thing is you don't have to be hooked up to the machine, so that's the good thing. But it also has the potential for using it for cats and dogs and things like that, which that's pretty cool, because a lot of times if you're trying to treat a cat, it's like they're not too cooperative, or a dog or anything else. It's like you got to try to give it medicine, you got to try to do this or whatever, hold it, whatever the heck it is, give it a shot, or, whatever the heck it is, if you apply something, whatever, but, then if you apply something to the skin, you got to lick it off. So in this case, if you're using these DNA holders, say there was something for, I don't know, something that was like irritation on the skin, that was an infection or something, hey, the potentiality is there to fix things. I wanted to put out that the potentiality for this Rife technology is not just limited to humans, it's also could be used on animals. And, that could be pretty interesting to use, because, the deal is, say for instance, an animal has a fracture or something like that. Say a horse has a fracture, right? Well, it's like difficult. You got to put them in the water, I think, so they don't break it worse or something. Depends on the horse, I guess. If it's, expensive racehorse, they try to keep it, and if it's, they put it to sleep if it's something else, I guess, But the thing is, you want it to heal as fast as possible, so maybe with these frequencies, there's actually bone generation frequencies and things like that. Now, a lot of these sets of frequencies, some of them are more effective than others. I just want to put out there that the frequencies that are known to be pretty damn effective is like 20 is one of them, 465, that's for like fungal issues, 727 or 728. A lot of times, sometimes people will split That's a Royal Rife frequency. Sometimes they'll split it between those two and say 727.5 in compromise. Because basically sometimes it does not have to be pinpoint. Usually, a lot of times it's like a bell curve like this. In other words, it's most effective on this particular frequency, but if you're off a little bit, it's still somewhat effective. You know, if you're pretty damn close, maybe we're just off by, you know, 0.1% or something. You know, it's probably still effective. You know, that's another reason to use the bioscanner thing, because this way you can see, you know, what the hits are. That's something else. Actually, look at John White's videos and he'll explain it better. But I just want to put another angle out here on this, because it's like the potentiality is just fantastic. Now, the other good frequencies besides 20, 465 for fungal issues, 727, 800 is another one, 880 is another one, 880, 800, and 10,000, and 10,000. Now, some other frequencies out there, like, in other words, if you're doing a lot of this too, I just want to point out that if you can actually get where you have what they call a frequency fatigue, you know, I don't know, sometimes people have more. I've never had a reaction to any of this stuff yet, so, but I've also been using the Lukowski coil. I've been using the Bob Beck blood electrifier every day. Now, I don't use it now as much because I've been doing so much of this, the Bob Beck electrifier, because I was using it every day for about 8 hours, using the Lukowski coil maybe a half hour or more a day. And it's a fake, well, it's not a real McCoy Lukowski coil, but it's kind of like a dumbed down version, but it's still pretty effective in my opinion, I assume. But it feels like I have more energy. So, but you know, what I'm saying is I haven't got any reactions where I feel bad or anything like that. And the point is, if you get some kind of reaction where you feel like you're knocking out a lot of microbes or something like that, and you get a lot of toxicity, they actually have frequencies to help purge the body of toxins. That's something else. I'm experimenting with running, you know, the broad spectrum sweeps and everything like that. And also for frequency fatigue, I just to throw this in here. Actually, there's more I was going to just want to point out that you could possibly use it for cats and dogs. And I also want to point out something a little bit about the theory too. But you know, why it may work, or some other things that we don't think about, you know, in a normal everyday world. But you know, there's other frequencies out there for frequency fatigue. Actually, one of the good ones if you start feeling bad from using this too much, is to use the Schumann Earth frequency, which is 7.83 hertz. 7.83 hertz. Another frequency that you can use to it's touted to actually relieve frequency fatigue is 10.55. 10.55. So, but these are all on the charts, and you can look them up. Excuse me. I don't have a cold, but I sneezed here. But the thing is, there's other frequencies out there besides, like, say for instance, you don't feel like you have any problem with anything or whatever. You don't want to bother trying to attack microbes in your body. There are other frequencies out there for healing and rejuvenation. 47 is one of them, known for that. 47, that's a pretty good one. It's supposed to be a good one, you know. There's 528. I don't know if 528, you know, some people call it DNA repair, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I heard 47 is rejuvenation and healing. Actually, Dr. Bob Beck talked about, he used the 111 a lot for healing and rejuvenation. I think that's one of the frequencies that put out by the biotuner, the Soto biotuner. And I think I'm going to put some links and some videos on I did previously about the Soto Instruments biotuner, because it's not just a brain tuner. It can actually potentially be used as a healing device on setting 3 with the Schumann Earth frequencies, sine wave overlaying the other frequencies. It's pretty damn useful. It's got a lot of different uses to it. But you know, what I have to say is, you know, some of the things that we have out here, you know, a lot of times people say this doesn't make any sense. How could a frequency do anything? Well, I'm going to say this. Like, say for instance, you know, you're looking at this magnifying glass, right? You know, this is steel right here, right? And you say, wow, you know, that's you know, made out of a solid metal, right? It's a solid metal. But if you look at it at an atomic level, actually all matter everywhere, no matter what, even if it's steel, it's made up of atoms, right? And really, what's the atom itself? It's got a nucleus and it's got electrons going around it really super quick, right? You know, I'm not going to explain this in scientific terms, but you actually think about it. The atom is what makes something solid is the energy of the atoms themselves. In other words, if the atoms had all the space removed between the electrons that are composed of, which make up everything that we see as solid, actually the universe would be like practically nothing. It would fit in the size of a thimble or something like that. The whole universe. So theoretically, this is what they say. In other words, you know, when you look at something solid, there's something going. It's actually all matter is composed of something, of atoms, which are energy. So, you know, when you're using this frequency, you're putting a pulsed energy into something, and this is, it's not like I'm proving it here or nothing like that, but I'm just kind of explaining it, from another way how we look at the universe. In other words, we look at something like a frequency a certain way. We don't realize that all material is actually made up of energy. Really, there's actually probably, you think about this, you could probably use energy to make matter. Not that we know how to do that, but the theory seems correct. Or the other way around, you can use matter to make energy, not just by burning it, but the thing was like splitting the atom was one, right? Was splitting the atom was an example of that. So, I think sometimes with these devices, you're probably getting into the body, not just at the cellular level, not just at the DNA level, but maybe even at the atomic level, in some cases. And I don't think anybody even knows exactly what's going on. But on the Rife list of frequencies, or the list of frequencies, there's lists that are more solid than, in other words, there's some frequencies out there that really do seem to be effective for most of the time, not guaranteed, but most of the time. In other words, maybe it's not the only thing you should be trying, but say you had a fungal issue. 464, 465, right in that range there, like usually 465, that actually will work against funguses very well. Say for instance you had a fungus on your finger or something here, and you put electricity here and electricity here, and it's going right through that fungus. It should knock out that fungus. That's one of the frequencies that is pretty solid. So, as we find these things out, a lot of times too, I should get into some other things, like the Russians, the cosmonauts, they used a device called Sinar, used to take up into space, because they couldn't take as many pharmaceuticals up in space if they got sick as they would like to, so they actually use frequency devices, the Russians. Actually, a lot of this technology came from Russia. As a matter of fact, the Bob Beck biotuner, setting 1, the original setting, the original biotuner had one setting on it, that technology came from Russia. Bob Beck knew about it and found out about it back in the 70s. Now, the Russians also use Sinar devices, which combine maybe 4 or 5 frequencies or something to help heal their athletes. So, this technology is not really, and I'm talking about their athletes in the Olympics. So, if you don't think it's effective, they wouldn't be using it on athletes in the Olympics. They've been using it in athletes in the Olympics to help for the recovery, enhancement of injury, getting rid of injuries, so enhance their performance. They've been using it since 2000, the Russians. They used to call this the Star Trek device when they first saw it, because it was something like, it wasn't involving, a needle going into the body or stuff. And, you think about it, so a lot of these technologies that the Westerners don't use, like acupuncture with the Chinese, it's not that they don't work, it's just that the West doesn't use them. Now, I actually have to say this, because sometimes in the Rife technology, in the Rife world, there's a lot of stuff out there that's just totally experimental, it's trial and error. But there is merit to it. There definitely is merit to it. Now, I look at this spooky remote like, I don't understand it. It seems crazy to me. It does, because to me, it's like
But it's almost like anything else when I first see it. I was one of the first persons on the block here to get the wireless internet where I could use my laptop computer someplace else. It was like years and years ago. And I even consider that pretty spooky. I was like, wow, how does that do that? But it's almost like, I guess, when the technology, if you think about all the technology we use today with cell phones or anything else, and even let's say the military uses to control, things, or to also, what can I say, like, see things from a distance, like with special types of radars, or cloak their planes and things like that. A lot of that stuff does seem pretty space age and high tech and almost like futuristic. Maybe this. I have to say, I think this technology with the DNA holders. From my research, it's been around only since 2011, so it is pretty brand new. But what I'm looking at it is this. With animals, it's like you just can't put a couple electrodes or pad devices on an animal, expect them to hold there, or walk around with this, generator on their back or something like that. And, if they have a problem, if you want to treat them with Rife. So this way, you can actually put the animal claw clippings, just not the whole claw, just the little clippings on the end, and put them in the DNA holders and treat the animal. Now, I don't know too many frequencies, though, that can treat animals, but I think there is some out there that they're probably sold for a price. That might be the deal, because I haven't seen too many listed frequencies for animals. But, it may come out that maybe, even this software that John White is putting out with Spooky might include a pet list sometime. Who the hell knows? There might be something, because this is also in its infancy. But if you start thinking about it, one of the best applications for this would be animals, because of cat, dog, and all this kind of stuff. They get cancer. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, you can't tell the dog, I'm giving you a treatment, hold still. They don't do that. They got a mind of their own. Don't lick that medicine off. They don't do that, right? That's the way these animals, they don't know what the hell you're saying. They know some stuff. They know, like, don't crap over there in the living room or something if you're telling your dog something. They know stuff like that, Don't chew up the newspaper or whatever, They know that type of stuff, Go fetch something. They don't know, they don't know English. They understand simple stuff, though. And, but, it's like if you want to try to treat them with something, or maybe even extend their life, this might be a cool way of doing it. So, I just want to think outside the box. This works for humans. The same principle does apply with the cats and the dogs and horses and stuff. I'm not sure how you actually apply it to the horses. I don't know if you take a, little piece of sliver of hoof or something like that. I don't know. But I know with the cats and dogs, you use the claw. It's the same thing. Just like the fingernail clipping, you use the claw clipping. And you put them in the DNA holder, and it works the same way. And, I think the term spooky is a damn good term, because it's almost like I don't see how this could work, to tell you the truth, in my layman's term. But, you got to think of like I said, I got to repeat myself on this. You got to think of the universe in a different way, because, for instance, like I said, as you're looking at this is a piece of steel. Actually, it's made up of atoms that are held together by energy. It's got electrons flowing around them real fast. If you looked at the atomic level, it's really the steel. We see it as solid, but if you took away all the space between the electrons on the atoms, you wouldn't even see nothing. It would be that small. So basically, there's a big relationship between matter and energy. And, this may be why these frequencies are working, too. There's other things going on that, and I tell you the truth, I don't understand it all, because I'm not a scientist. But, if you took a scientist that was probably the best in the business, I don't think anybody understands it. People just observe it works. And there are some Rife frequencies out there that have been observed to work too many times to discount it as hocus pocus. There's some stuff out there that's, more experimental. Maybe it works with some people it don't. We don't know exactly why. But there's a lot of Rife frequencies. There's still a significant number. The ones I mentioned is not the only ones. There's other ones out there that work for other issues. So, this is something to actually pursue. Now, I would not bet your life on this only, but say, for instance, you had you were sick and you want to try this in addition to everything else you try, and you want to try everything. You know what I mean? This is not expensive, for one. It's not going to break the bank. It's like the whole kit with the two remotes, and the software is free, and the device is like like one doctor hour, basically, And if you want to try that on your pet, it's worth a try, because it thing is, I don't really know all the frequencies on the pets. I know a couple of them, and they seem to be not too many of them around. But as we get more and more people trying this out, we might get a bigger body of knowledge. One interesting frequency I think would be great that could be developed, and I'm not sure if it's around or not, would be the one that's with heartworm. Because my one cat, he don't like taking that heartworm medicine for nothing. And I don't think he ever got it before by the other people, because I don't think they did. I don't think they gave it to him, to tell you the truth. And try to give it to him like a little microscopic piece at a time. But if I could run this spooky remote for heartworm, hey, that'd be great. It'd be great. I don't have to tell him to go stay still or something like that. Go eat this medicine. I just take a claw clipping and I'm all set. So, it's got some cool things. It's got some cool other applications that, a lot of people aren't thinking about. And like I said, I'm looking at it like, I don't have like total belief in this either, okay? I'm more like a show me person. I'm like looking at, tell you the truth, to be quite honest, I'm looking at spooky remote like, this is pretty wild shit. I mean, I can't believe this can work, to tell you the truth. But it has worked for people. And it's something kind of brand new. Tell you the truth, when I'm looking at this, to be quite honest, I'm like, I don't see how this can work, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work. I'm kind of like, so if you're a skeptic, I'm going to say I'm a skeptic too. I know the Rife works with the pad devices up to a point, but the concept of using it this way through the remote, which is using the principle of quantum entanglement, I'm throwing a big word out there. I don't understand it. I don't think anybody understands, though, to tell you the truth. It's probably effective. It probably is effective. The universe, as we look at it in our everyday world, there's a lot of laws of physics that are going on that we just don't think about. Like I said, when I look at this, I look at a solid object. In reality, it's composed of atoms that are giving off energy with the electrons that are swirling around so fast that we see a solid object. In reality, this object would not exist without the energy of the atoms themselves, right? So like matter and energy are kind of like interchangeable in a way, right? They are. There is some kind of something, Einstein put that out with MC squared, whatever the hell he put out, I don't know. But, I'm not a scientist. But like I said, that's the whole idea about putting the energy and frequencies into the body. It's actually changing some things at an atomic level. And the idea is you can rejuvenate cells, you can heal cells, you can rejuvenate bone and things like that. Theoretically, I would think that would be great if you have a fracture on a pet, you want to get that fracture healed up as fast as possible. And because the pet's not going to freaking cooperate by saying, stay still, don't move around, You want to heal them up as fast as possible. And the other side of it is, too, is if you have a parasite or a cancer, you want to be able to destroy it. So, what's probably going on is you're probably destroying the, when we see the cell wall of a parasite under a microscope, rupture and its parasite breaks, or this microbe breaks, or pathogen breaks apart. What's going on is it's probably causing it's probably something going on at the atomic level. Where it's causing something to break apart or something. I don't know what's going on, to tell you the truth. I don't know. but there is a relationship between mass and energy. So that is really why, you could say the frequencies work. Some of them are very time tested, some of them are far more proven than others, though. Just have to put that out there. But the potentiality exists to use this for pets too. So, I just want to keep that in mind. Some people want to keep their, I like to see my cats over 50 years old or something someday. I don't know. Maybe they'll live that long. By that time they'll be speaking English. They'll be going meow meow meow. But who the hell knows? By the time you'll probably freaking be the wisest old cat in the world. For all I know. But maybe with this Rife technology, maybe that can happen.